It's the Situation Room. We are still on the 26th of January 2022. We still have 6 days to the end of January. And we switch over the conversation now. Let's go back to the coast and the politics of the coast. Next up is a guest who wants to be the next governor of Kilifi County. But before we introduce him, let's hear the day's proverb from CT.
Mchimba kisima huingia mwenyewe.
Mchimba kisima
yeye
naingia mwenyewe.
Mwenyewe ndio hiyo.
In English,
he who digs a well enters it themselves or himself. Yes.
Okay. 97.7 Malindi is well tuned this morning. Keep it locked for the next guest, the Honorable Gideon Munero. He is the Chief Administrative Secretary in the State Department of Devolution. He is a former member of parliament for Malindi. He is a seasoned politician. He wants to be the next governor of Kilifi County. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
It's good to have you on the show, and we are glad that you're tuned in. I mean, you've joined us this morning. Welcome. We call that the hot seat, but let's just say it's a friendly seat for you.
Thank you.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
You've been a member of parliament. You've been an assistant minister. You're now chief administrative secretary. So you understand very much the issues of Kilifi County. There are many. Let's start by just looking at several issues. When you're currently talking about the drought that's ravaging parts of the country, Kilifi County is counted in that list.
Yes.
There are many people who today do not know what they're going to eat.
Yes.
What has the government been doing to address their plight?
The government has been doing relief food and also cash transfer. Relief food actually this particular time has been less because the government embarked on cash transfer directly to the people, and also Red Cross and other organizations. But currently, again, because there have been short rains, but Khalifa again was among the counties disadvantaged by the low rainfalls. Again, you saw yesterday the Minister for Public
Public
Works. Not Public Works, the Public Service.
Public Service, rather. Yes.
Professor Kobia flagged off the donations. So again, food is going to the ground to help the people who are in their need. Yeah.
Is this a new problem, or is it that the people in this area face these problems regularly?
This is not a new problem. Actually, it has not been addressed. It seems like every year it's expected that when there's drought, then you'll have to give
to look at Kilifi.
So I think that's why I say in the future we will have to address this issue. And God willing, if I become the governor of Kilifi, when I become governor of Kilifi, then I will embark on irrigation, get partners. There are so many partners on food security. And I think when I was MP for Malindi, I did in a small way a project through CDF and World Vision in a place called Langobaya. And it's possible. It can be done. We can address the drought situation.
What's the economic mainstay of Kilifi, and especially those parts of Kilifi that have perennial drought problems?
The place where there's drought problem, or the general economic...
especially for those areas. What is it that people do as an economic activity?
If you see like places like Ganze, not much. Some just do charcoal panning, and then in Magarini they're supposed to be doing many people there do pineapple farming, there's cassava farming, but it has not been enhanced.
But what could they do? Like, I mean, Ganze, the problems in Ganze have been there for as long as history.
Yeah.
Now, what could they do that would have some economic benefit to them?
I think what you need to do in Ganze is just doing as many water pans as possible, and also some big dams, few big dams, and many water pans will change the situation there.
Why hasn't this been done
done
before?
now,
I mean,
because, yeah.
we have the Tana Earth Development, it's called Tana Earth Development Authority that's been there. We've had the national government. We've now had 9 years of county government. Why haven't these things been done?
It's the priorities, basically. Those who are in office, depends what priority they have put. Because if you go to Ganze, is again, the water problem is a huge issue. I could say in Kilifi, in 4 areas is a major problem. Okay, there are some problems in other areas, but I think if you Maganze, Kaloleni, Rabai, and Magarini. There are some places where when you go, you will shed tears with the situation of water situation in those areas. And there are things which can be addressed. Don't forget that the water comes from a place called Langobaya in Malindi, and it's piped all the way 120 kilometers to Mombasa and many parts to Malindi and other places. But still, the people of the Khilifi County don't assess it.
So what would be different? Because you talk about in the future, but unfortunately, this is a bad situation now.
Yeah.
Presently, it's a bad situation. Historically, it's been a bad situation. Many would argue that it has gotten worse, right? So if we're looking at the future, what necessarily would change? Because a different individual then is in a position of leadership. What would change and how would it change?
I think it depends on individuals' efforts and looking into how to solve the problems. And why I say it's possible to address it is because when I was MP for Malindi, I addressed water problem. It was a problem in Malindi. When I became the MP for Kilifi North, I addressed the water problem. That's why in those 2 constituencies, I can challenge any citizen of that area to tell me now the situation of those 2 constituencies where I was a member of parliament and any other constituency in Kilifi County, and they will tell you the difference. It's an individual effort on wanting to have a change. When you are elected in leadership, you need to bring change. It's not about you just being there and finish your term without addressing the issues affecting the people.
We're talking about issues. Huh? What would you say are the main problems that people in Kilifi County face, and what are the changes that they would like to see come about?
There are several issues I feel need to be addressed in Kilifi County. The one problem is the one we are discussing now, the water scarcity. So meaning, if we address water, we will address also food security, because we encourage people to do irrigation. Health, yeah. We need to improve health facilities in Kilifi. You will see today still people being rushed to Coast General Hospital from now and then. I think this particular time of devolution, there is need of every effort to do a referral, teaching, and research hospital in Kilifi. You all know that even when COVID started, that the only center you could do testing was Kemri in Kilifi. So I think we have all the advantage of doing a research, referral, and teaching hospital in Kilifi. And it will benefit the Kilifi people.
Health is key.
Yeah.
How many, I was going to say wards, but let me not go to the wards. If you look at Kilifi, and you were to ask, how many hospitals does Kilifi have? I don't want you to give me a number. I'm beginning my conversation. The number of hospitals, and what levels are these hospitals at? And then if you go lower down, how distributed are them to the whole of the county? And in the time that Governor Kingi has been governor, how many new health facilities have been put up, and are they adequate?
I wouldn't be able to say much, but I know that there's the Malindi Hospital. Why I have more Malindi? Because I was member of parliament there, and I was involved in developing Malindi Hospital through partners. When I was first mayor of Malindi and then MP for Malindi, I did a lot of programs with Danida. We built wards in Malindi Hospital. Malindi Hospital was a dilapidated hospital, but by the time I left as MP, we had built even an HDU in Malindi Hospital those days. And I think the county came in and started building up from there. I know that they have done Mariakani Hospital. Then, of course, improved a bit some of the sub-county hospitals like Bamba. It's not a big place, but I think there are 15 beds or something. They have done Rabai, I think maternity wing. I really don't know the rest. I know that they have done many dispensaries, but they're either not open, and if they're open, they have no drugs. But I did myself, again, when I was MP for Kilifi North, I did the Gede dispensary, tried to expand it to a smaller, medium hospital. Not much was done since I left office. The only thing I think it became handy during the COVID. They opened it as a COVID isolation area. And I was helped to do this by the Kenya Ports Authority. I approached the Kenya Ports Authority through the CSR, and they built for me 45 beds facility in Gede. And with CDF, we bought beds, we did all the other facilities. And again, through partners with from Italy called Karibuni on Loose, we did the maternity wing for that place. But again, after some time, it was abandoned. It became a normal dispensary, while it has all those facilities it was used to.
Let me ask the question. Huh? You see, why I'm asking you this question is because we had the Chief Officer of Health for the Nairobi Metropolitan Services here a while back, sitting on that very same chair. And there's something he told us that has stuck in our minds. They put up 21 health facilities at the cost of 36 million Kenya shillings. So it begs the question, and you go to basics, how much money does Khilifi County get?
Khilifi County gets about 11 billion.
How much?
11 billion.
11 billion.
From the national government.
That is the national.
And of course they get some partners to do other.
Okay. And the population of Khilifi is something like 1.4 million? 1.5 million?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, would you say that in the time, in these last 9 years, because if it's 11 billion and I multiply it by 9, that is 99 billion. Would you say there is an indication of...
That is without including what is collected locally.
Own source revenue.
Yeah. No, I'm just going by what...
The national government
Yes,
says.
what the national government has given.
Actually, it's about 11 because it's 10 billion 400 and something.
Yes, because if health is an issue, clearly from what you're saying, it hasn't been addressed. If you're saying water is an issue, clearly it hasn't been addressed. So the question that I'm actually asking is, where has this 11 billion shillings been going? And what is it that you plan to do with this 11 billion that will be different from what this particular county government has done?
I want to address water issues. I want to address health. I want to address education. I know the county has been doing bursaries because that's what they do and ECDs. But when it comes to bursaries, I have a different formula. Every time you hear the county has spent 500 million on sending kids to school. But there's no record you can say at the end of the year that the county has educated 50 or 100 kids. What I did when I was MP for Malindi is that apart from giving bursary to many people, I targeted 100 per year to make sure that they're fully paid. And they must bring their reports when they come at the end of the term for them to be able to get another check to go back to school so that we see how they're progressing. If you don't do that, you will be spending billions and billions of shillings distributing 10,000 here, 5,000 there, but you will have no results because you cannot be able to account and say in the 10 years as a county government, we have been able to take 500 kids from Form 1 to university level. There must be a formula. And it's not a rocket science to do it.
Other challenges when it comes to education in Kilifi to do with the numbers of enrollment into primary school, transition into secondary school and the high dropout rate, and then also the performance. What do you intend to do about that? To encourage the children to first of all be enrolled by their parents into school and to stay in school until fourth form.
There are different factors which brings this. Of course, the poverty levels. You have talked at the beginning about drought, which has made many kids go off from school during. That's when it starts mostly. But also, we need to improve our facilities. Yeah, I know this is not a job of the county government or building of schools, but I think the county can partner with the local members of parliament who have the CDF to see how jointly they can come up with a formula of fast improving facilities and come up with working with provincial administration to monitor how these kids can stay in school. We have seen that the government with the 100% transition have been able to go around the country and mop up kids to go to school. And I think in partnership with the provincial administration and the county government, we'll be able to see how many kids are in school. The other problem is what I was telling you is that, yes, kids have done their class 8 exams. Those who have performed well, those who have not performed well, but there's 100% transition. Who checks to make sure that all the kids, even the kids who have got an alliance. Last year, I remember, I was approached and I was, through friends, I managed to take 15 kids to high school, sponsored. One of them was going to Alliance. Nobody knew that there's a kid who had
passed so well,
going to Alliance and was sitting at home. So we must be able to have, between the county government, provincial administration, the TSC, director in charge of Kilifi County, work in collaboration to be able to monitor how many kids have done exams within the county, how many have, and the county has all the ward administrators. It can't be so difficult. What other major job are they doing at the ward level? Because you have an assistant chief at that place, you have the chief. So the ward administrator could work hand in hand with the teachers or the union officials of those areas, with the TSC, to be able to establish in this ward how many kids did their
Standard
8 exam, how many kids have done secondary school exams, how many are really in school,
and how many are not. Is there any indicator in terms of data and information onto the causes that lead to this very high dropout rates in Kilifi County?
The problem has not been mostly with the boy child, has been with the girl child, the early pregnancies. But I think the Ministry of Education and the government have really tried. The last 1 year, that has been going down.
The numbers have been dropping.
But this was the main issue. But again, it's not only poverty. You know, in the old days, when we were growing up, parents wanted to know if not only the girl child, but even the boy child. My father wanted to know whether I was at 6 o'clock in the evening because I'm still in school. Why am I not at home? But nowadays, parents just let their kids go. A girl will not turn up back home in the evening, and a parent will not be surprised or wonder. A girl will go for 2 days and come 2 days later, and it's normal nowadays. You know, parents have relaxed. They have dropped the guard.
Isn't even relaxed. That's neglect.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So
Why?
parents
Why
also,
would that- why is that
also need to take responsibilities, because not only government will. You should be your business to know where your child is. It can't be that your kids will leave on Friday after school and come back on Sunday. Kids, girls of 13 years.
You know, one thing, Washimiwa, is it doesn't matter the circumstances. The one thing that everybody who is a parent knows is that they have a duty and a responsibility
Yeah.
over their children.
Yes.
So really, I don't see how the parents of Kilifi County would be different from the parents of any other part of this country. In terms of, just sitting back and saying, well, I gave birth to a child, okay.
No,
at
but
a Gilea. It can't be.
It has also come to the notice of government officials and leaders that also some parents are involved of even sending their kids to
Child labor and
exactly child labor and many other issues which I wouldn't be able to share on this platform. But it happens. Many parents are.
There's something that I have to ask here. One of the things that was rampant in Kilifi County for a long time was early marriage for girls.
Yes.
Has that come to an end, or is the situation still exactly where it was before?
It's still there, but it's not in big way like it was before. What is happening now, it has changed to early pregnancies, where kids get pregnant, they deliver at home, then they're not married at all. Yeah. Before was early marriages because parents are involved on marrying their daughters off. But now, people have come up claiming that many young girls were involved with the border guys. But you must appreciate, if you guys are watching the TV, I think it was NTV last week, was showing how border riders have come together to rescue the girl child in Kilifi, to make sure those girls who fell in the hands of their colleagues are going back to school. It's a program which has been started by the borders of Kilifi County, which I think is a very good effort. I think this one will lead to reduction on the early pregnancies. Yeah.
Our guest, the Honorable Gideon Munero, Chief Administrative Secretary for Devolution, wants to be the next governor of Kilifi County. Mheshimiwa, you've told us about the very many things that are pain points for the people of Kilifi. You've talked about health. You've talked about water, agriculture. Of course, blue economy is something that a county government would be able to also deal with. Now, what exactly do you hope to do for, let's say, for instance, in terms of agriculture, to improve agriculture, to make it the economic mainstay of very many people in Kilifi County? Remember, part of the Galana Kulalu 1 million acre project is in Kilifi.
Yep. I think that's why I'm saying it's possible to address the food security in Kilifi, because at the moment when you do relief food, and we did the other day before the special programs was transferred from devolution to public service, is that the maize we are getting to supply or distribute to the people comes from Kilifi County, from Galana Kulalu. So it's possible for the
So
county.
maize is coming from Kilifi to be distributed to people who are starving in Kilifi.
Yeah. And we cannot feed our own people. So I think we need to address that. And to address that, what I want to say is we are still studying the budget, how much, because we don't know also how much when we come in, how much things we'll need to sort out. But we are saying if we did every financial year in an investment of $1 billion shilling on agriculture, we invest $1 billion on water, and we address $1 billion for a start.
Yeah,
and we can improve that. Then I think the change will be normal. If you do 1 billion water, we have the perennial areas. I've said Magarini, Ganze, Kaloleni, and Rabai. Yeah, if you did 250 million every constituency per financial year, in 4 years you will have done 2 billion in every sub-county. I don't think you will have a water problem anymore in those areas.
So what would you be spending the money on?
On piping water, and the other areas where you probably have, you could do some water, medium water dams, for which will help both to provide water and irrigation. but do piping of water, because we have water from the Sabaki, the Galana, the Baricho waterworks, which is in Malindi, in Kilifi sub-county. So to do both piping and dams.
And you supply that.
And you supply that. And they create, and I think the other problem we have had in Khilifi is on the water supply. Every time you hear there's water shortage, maybe for a week or polar sharing, is because power has been disconnected. We would like to invest on solar panels at the waterworks. And I can tell you, we can do a BOT with investors. Build, operate, and transfer. And pipe the water so that we can reduce also the expense to the consumer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Because at the moment also the water is expensive because of the electricity. Electricity is high.
Yep.
So the
Cost of pumping
is high. And who pays it?
The consumer.
The consumer who pays.
Yeah. So we need to find a way on sorting out that issue. When you come to health, I think if you ask me, in the time I've been in leadership, if there's one area where you have no issues with partners, is health. If you, as a county, make an effort, you don't need a lot of effort. If you come with a program like today, what I'm saying of the research, referral, and teaching hospital, believe me, out there are so many people who can invest and partner with the county to do health. Water, the same. Actually, water, I know when I was MP, and before that when I was a mayor for Malindi, I went for a workshop in Berlin. It was called Vasa Berlin. And I presented a paper then, done by my engineer those days. And they managed to come out of that conference with 300 million donation for water reticulation in Malindi. That changed Malindi. Even Malindi Hospital did not have water. When I became the MP for Malindi, the biggest business of Malindi was water boozers. Places like Asorina where people go and enjoy nowadays, holidays, and they had no water. The biggest business of Malindi, you could just see everybody was investing on water boozers. I managed to change that. So that's why I'm saying, that's how we got HP Gaff from Germany, came to Malindi, did the water reticulation, had a contract for 5 years to be able to do the running of water, Malindi Water Company. From when the people used to read maybe 100 meters out of the consumers of Malindi. Now that every meter is read, more money is collected, and that money is plowed back to expand the water circulation. That's what happened when I was MP.
You know why I mentioned the issue of Nairobi Metropolitan is because of what they did with the health sector. Now, the hospitals they built, were turnkey projects, meaning they don't just put up the brick and mortar. No. It is built, it has equipment.
Yes.
So all you do is to start.
Yes.
And remember, 21 health facilities with less than $1 billion. Now, if one focuses on changing the health sector and looking at the needs that the population has, even if you wanted to spend half that amount, and you're saying this is the amount we are focusing for the health sector on a yearly basis, just to put up the structures, I think by the time you even get to your third year,
It will be changed.
almost every corner of Malindi County will have a health facility. So you cannot say that you have a problem with health facilities.
Of Kilifi County. And that's what I've said. And I know many people, you have also doubting Thomases, but I said the other day when I was in Kilifi that what the county government of Kilifi could not do in 10 years, I'm intending to do it in 3 years because it's possible.
Okay, and even as you say this, Mung'aro, it is. I think we've listened to so many people, so many aspiring leaders coming into this election talk about things that they have not seen working, and that if given the opportunity, they will make sure that those things work, right? And so the question is here, how will people be sure? What guarantees do they have that whatever needs to be applied will actually be done and it will work? Because they've lived in this position for the longest time where things have actually not happened. This lack of hospitals is not a yesterday thing. This lack of water is a decade-long thing. This, you said it yourself, this thing of a drought in the region is a recurrent thing year after year after year. So what makes this particular time different? And I think that's the question, because everybody seems to have a development agenda. Let's make things better than they were before. Let's get out of this suffering situation in which we have been in. How do they know that this is the time that it will actually change?
I think mine, I want to say very simple, that I've been there, I've been tested. When I became the mayor of Malindi, I was voted the best mayor in Kenya and among the 3 mayors in Africa. Yeah, and among the 30 mayors of the world who are assembled in Israel to be awarded the best performing. So I'm not coming here just to say things which I have not tested and done them. I've told you I've sorted out the Malindi water problem when I was a mayor. And don't forget, I was only ceremonial that time. I didn't have executive powers. But I went my way out to look for partners, to look for friends, to come and help change Malindi. And we managed to do it. And when I became the MP for Malindi, I did more. Through Danida, you check the priorities of your people. Through Danida, when Danida came into Malindi those days, they wanted to improve the all-weather, to make the roads into the farms all-weather. And I told the directors, come on, yes, you will improve the roads into the farms, into the villages, to come into Malindi. But one thing I can tell you, even if you bring a patient from that village because you have improved the roads, they will arrive at the hospital and they will die. So for me, let them take 2 hours to get out of those villages to reach here. But when they reach here at this hospital, they should be able to be treated. Yeah, they should be able to get a facility where they will be attended to and save their lives. And that's why Danida built all the wards you see in Malindi. If you go to Malindi and see all the women wards, the male wards, the children's wards, were built during my time. Yeah, the morgue, the HDU. That time also I was a member of the Rotary Club, and I managed to, through my contacts at the Rotary Club, to convince Rancon City in UK to bring equipment for dental clinic in Malindi Hospital. And they gave Malindi Hospital worth equipment of 40 million to start a dental clinic those days, 2001. I managed to partner with Karibuni Onlus and from Italy, and we managed to did HDU at Malindi Hospital as a member of parliament. Those were all, as you are aware, that they were not functions of a member of parliament, because, and there was also no devolved unit by then, because that was 2007, 2013. Yeah.
Yep.
But it's an individual effort to look for partners, to look for organizations. And believe me, if you went to your Google now and look where you can get partners for water, health, whatever, believe me, you will get many people. And it's all a matter of approaching people and explaining yourself, be able to tell the partners the plight of your people, and it will happen. It's not a miracle. When I did the dispensary to get 45 beds, I just walked into Kenya Ports Authority. Where's Kenya Ports Authority? It's in Coast. I wrote a letter to the MD and I said, look, could I get out of the CSR budget, do for me ABCD? Why did I want to improve that particular hospital? It's in the locality of my home area. But because the black spot of the main accidents on that Malindi Kilifi stretch happens within Gede Forest, which is the most accidents happen that stretch up to near Malindi Airport. But that's the most concentrated area, is about 10 kilometers, which is within there. And I said, if we improve this facility, then we could be able to stabilize people here before you take them to either Malindi General Hospital or to Khilifi Hospital. But since we got the county into office, apart from the other day, because they needed it for, needed a place for isolation, it was just left like that since I left office.
You know what is interesting? You talk about something that we haven't heard very many people who are in the political sphere talking about, how to get partners to work with you and how to make changes. But you see, there's one fundamental difference when one is governor. You have 11 billion
Right there.
your own to work with.
Plus own source revenue.
Yes.
Pushes
And
it to,
partners.
let's say, 15 billion.
And partners.
Yeah.
Believe me, I've told people, and I can tell you, I know she has said everybody comes and promises this, but I can tell you on health and water, I can promise the Kilifi people, if I spend 50-60% from our own resources, I will be able to mobilize 40% from partners. The money is out there. People need to get out.
So essentially what you are saying, if I hear you correctly, is that the facilities and the resources to bring about change have been there.
Yes.
But for some reason or the other, they haven't been used to bring about change.
You know, leadership is not about how much money you have. It's about the will and the inner you. That I come from Kilifi County, yeah, and I want to make change. And that's how I've worked. When I was mayor, that's why I got all the awards. When I was MP, yeah. When I got the water program for Kilifi North now, Kilifi North, when they removed my village, which is Watamu area in Dabaso, to the new constituency, and I had to move out of Malindi to contest there. One of the challenges I knew I was going to face was water. Because as a young boy, every morning when we woke up early, you know, before Christmas and to go with your father to buy the new clothes in Mombasa, we could go with a bus at 4 a.m. called Malindi bus. And there's a place called Mida in Gede, that Gode forest. And you could see the jerrycans, that's the memory I have, of women at 4 o'clock in the morning. Lining up to look for water. Yeah. And when I became the MP for Kilifi North, apart from many things I asked the government, I asked personally the president, and I said, if there's one thing I want to leave for Kilifi North people, is a 67-kilometer stretch water pipe where the water now can. And that's what the county is using at the moment to spread water in that Kilifi North. I got a water pipe from the Kakuyuni reservoirs, which is near the Baricho Water Works, 67 kilometers into Kilifi Hospital, and built 6 million water tanks by the national government. That was done within my 5 years as Member of Parliament, because I made it my agenda that apart from what I'm doing with CDF, this is what I want from the national government to do for me.
The bulk of what we've spoken about has been development issues. Now, I'm looking at this vis-a-vis the greater coast conversation, which a lot of times has been inclusivity into the national conversation. From your point of view, in terms of what you want to do, I mean, clearly, when we talk about Kilifi North, we talk about Malindi serving as an MP, a lot of these things that you took on were development projects. Now, looking at what the conversation has been politically coming out from the coast, do you think that the issue should be, let's sort out these development issues that have plagued these areas for the longest time, or should the concentration be invite us to the national table so that we can all be part in terms of leadership? Which do you think is more important, and where should the focus be?
I think more important is engaging the national government. I think being on the national table, whether to decide from there or whatever, is not the issue. The issue, I think, is the leadership of the region to come up together and see what first do you want to solve. Are you aware? Do you know what you want to solve as a region first? Then we go to the national conversation on how, because we have now devolved units. Devolved units, whether you are at the table of the national table or not, you will get your money.
Sure.
There's no county. Coastal has been an ODM zone. There's no governor who was refused money by the Jubilee government because they're in ODM. So it can't be an excuse. I think all what we need to do is, first of all, to have our priorities right with the money we get as devolved unit. Then we see the remaining areas where probably the money is not enough from the devolved unit, how you will partner with the national government and other partners. to be able to solve the problems. I think for me, if you ask me, that's the main issue. The issue is not Oka,
It's not
or
Oka or
Azimio or UDA. The issue is, do we know our issues? Do we have a plan to solve our problems? Yeah, as individual, when elected to office by the people.
Does it help though to have a broader plan? For example, at 7:00 we hosted Hassan Omar Hassan, who wants to be governor of neighboring Mombasa, and he's also very deep in the UDA campaign, and he was telling us that UDA has all these blueprints and what if they win the government, what they hope to do to develop the coast. Now, is there such a plan or blueprint or conversation happening? I know you're in the Azimio camp. Is there such a conversation?
What I can tell you, my sister said here, the name Ndu, that what people talk and what they do is different. In the cost, believe me, we don't need to do new blueprints. If you go to the shelves of this country, I think you just need to dust them. Maybe they were manual before and put them in the computer and you move on. But all these blueprints people are talking about, now I know it's the election period. Every leader, especially when they come to cost, they will talk about land. Yeah. They will talk about how we have been marginalized, I don't know for how many years.
Blue economy.
But believe me, the problems of the coast is just about who is going to be the local leader, and who are they going to partner with, who have equally interest of changing the area. But the more efforts will come to the local leadership, to make sure that you are able to change these issues by constantly reminding the powers to be that these are the issues, and this is why I was elected, and there must be a change.
So what you're telling the people of Kilifi, for example, is it matters, but what matters most is the character of the individuals coming to you, wanting to be your MP, wanting to be your governor. Their national affiliation, whether they're in Oka, UDA, Azimio, comes secondary.
Yes, because for me, I will choose the affiliation up here. That when I was in ODM, at one point I chose to move to work with the sitting president, President Uhuru, because also I realized that I could engage him on the issues of my people. And out of the people who are now on, I believe the person who has been passionate on the issues of course is Raila Odinga. And I believe if he makes it this time, and I'm the governor of Khilifi, we would be able to change not only Khilifi, but the issues also of the region. Because this land issue, everybody talks about it. They talk about it during campaign. I was in the land ministry till recently when I was transferred to devolution. And I can account for what I was able to do. The titles we have done for Khilifi, many of them not distributed now because the president came and launched and said they'll come again. But we did not only be able to do the education and settlement schemes, but we also bought land. Today, I am leaving government office on the 9th. Proudly, I can say that I managed to convince the government to buy the land which has been an issue for the longest time in Kilifi County, the Mazurui family land. The government now has bought Mazurui and is allocating people of Kilifi. That's the biggest land owned by private people in Kilifi County. The Mikanjuni land in Mutwapa, which belonged to also individuals, the government has also bought that one. And I had just started pursuing the land called Kaga, about 4,000 acres in Kilifi town also, which the government has already engaged the Kaga cooperative to also buy it and allocate it to the people. These are the issues we want to see. It's not always just standing on podiums and just talking and promising, but you don't move an inch. So I can tell you that the only change you will do to our people is when you come to office, you should be able to leave office with your head high, saying, when I was in office, I was able to achieve A, B, C, D.
Which may have to ask you this question even as time is winding down. Almost every region in this country has a political party they affiliate themselves with. Why is it that the coast has not been able to garner their own people to form a political party that the coastals rally behind?
I think we have had parties at the coast. We had Shirikisho, which is still there.
Yes.
We had Kadwasili, still there.
Yes.
Governor Kingi now has come with PA. And there's conversations around all these parties.
Mheshimiwa, there are always conversations, but something that brings
That
the
becomes a formidable
that makes
force.
it a block.
And you know why? When it will become a block, you always have to be able to convince the people of what she was asking, that I will do the difference. Till you can show the people that you do the difference, because you see now these parties are formed and they have already individuals on them. So they look at you, Gideon Munero, what have you been able to do for us so that we can rally behind you?
Yeah.
So whatever we do, we must know that it will haunt us in future. Whatever you do now, will you be able to use it to rally people behind, or people will run away because they think like, what have you done for us?
They see that you really wasted the opportunity that they've given you before.
Which is a very good idea. But like now you see the conversation is very high at the cost. Probably we needed more time to be able to rally people behind.
Okay.
Maybe now you would be able to rally people, but not everybody, because people think like time is running out.
Mheshimiwa Gideon Munero, thank you very much for joining us today. Come again soon after you officially and formally quit government and now go campaigning. Come, let's talk about the politics of Kilifi County.
Thank you.